What
This
may be the
conference will
opportunities
now be recorded.
with the outbreak of COVID? What may be the opportunities on data analytics engineer? As per your view, will it increase or decrease? Okay, you see today for the COVID-19, there are multiple applications. Even few engineering colleges and other small like group of people as freelancers, they develop. There are a lot of hackathons going on. There are a lot of freelancers who are developing certain applications and giving it. Even at the district level, they are handing it over to the district administration. So all these apps you see at the back end is all based on data analytics, mobile technology and data analytics. This forms the core of this COVID-19 preventive or predictive applications. So, from my point of view, there will not be any degradation for this role, but maybe the number of opportunities and these pay packages may differ. But sure, there will be a demand for this particular role. And can see data lakes is there in the curve, and most of this curve contains all terms related to data analytics. So in the coming days of workshop, you will study what is each and every analytics in detail. It starts with predictive analytics, augmented analytics. I think the other speaker will be handling in the last 2 days session with the details of all this analytics. So what does it mean is the point here is like maybe for in the coming years, 4-5 years down the line, all this analytics will be there in this curve, which means that all this will be there in the IT industry or in the IT market. Certain certain predictions and survey results. So these days you see a lot of IoT. The top of IoT is at the peak. So TechRadar has predicted that by end of this year, every person will generate 1.7 megabytes of information or data per second. It may be in the form of mobile, from your mobiles or from your any other gadgets or any other devices, even your automobiles, or from your home from your household equipments. You will be generating 1.7 megabytes of information per second. So when such kind of information is being generated, you need to have a strong platform for processing this information, and you need to have a strong infrastructure to store the data, to process the data and to store the data. So from this point of view, there are a lot of enhancements in the industry that is going on. So from the infrastructure side, from cloud has moved to few other upcoming technologies, trending technologies. From the platform side also, it has moved to multiple advanced techniques and technologies. So I'll just give you a brief of all this in the coming slides. And the share of analytics industries will rise to about 30% in another 5 years time. So you can see like coming to our Indian perspective, the analytics has earned about a revenue of 35.9 billion with a 19.5% growth in last year in 2019. And as of March 2020, the salary of analytics professionals in India is average about 14.4 lakhs. And this shows by city-wise. This involves data of multiple IT industries, smart cities, and automobile industries, and multiple industries who is using this big data environment. Bangalore stands at the first, and the industries that stands top specifically from the Indian market as BFSI. The banking and financial services and insurance sector stands at the top. So a very good scenario that you can feel is like once you just apply for any credit cards or any other bank loans, or you just browse for any insurance things, frequently you will be getting calls from multiple banking sector and multiple banking agencies. So for all this, data analytics works at the back end. Next, same way for marketing. Like we can see like multiple, when you browse through your mobiles and your systems, a lot of marketing stuff comes in. Actually, we feel like we are using social media, but like Facebook and other things. But scenario is they are using us for their marketing. And e-commerce, same way. If you log into any e-commerce sites and you just browse for some product, in the end you will get related products. There is a big analytics running at the back end, which gives you like people who purchase this also purchase that. So it gives you a suggestion and recommendation for you to buy certain other things. Same way, healthcare, pharma, media and entertainment, so telecom, and now the last, energy and industrials. So this will get a good growth or good scope by industry 4.0. The energy and industrials, this vertical will get a good uh, growth in the coming years. Just skip few slides. And what are the technical components that forms this data analytics ecosystem? So it starts with the data gathering environment, maybe your IoT and gateway devices or automobiles, where data is being, from where the source of data, it starts from there and moves on to how you are communicating it over a network, maybe through a conventional computer networks or a wireless network or networks with enhanced software defined networking, software defined WAN, where you are processing the data, the underlying infrastructure. So earlier days, it was on a normal high-end computers, then servers, supercomputers, cloud, and now it has moved to edge and fog computing. And the platform that you use for processing, like uh, business platforms, AI, artificial intelligence, ML, DL platforms. So all this forms something called analytics as a service. So here again, bringing in the advantages of cloud. So what do you get by taking this analytics as a service, that is making it as a cloud service and integrating with your approach? If your approach is, if your focus is not on the core data analytics, whereas you want to use the data analytics, you can take this approach as a service. And what is that you're going to get with containers in analytics environment? So maybe on Wednesday, I have a session on this containers. So where I'll explain you the advantages of going to cloud for data analytics and how to deploy your containers with data analytics platforms. This forms the complete ecosystem for a data analytics environment. On 10 technology trends in data analytics as listed out by Gartner, starts with augmented analytics, continuous intelligence, explainable artificial intelligence, blockchain, graph analytics. So commercial AI and ML platforms, data fabric, augmented data management, and natural language processing conversion and AI analytics. And there is other trends that is given out by Analytics India. So if you see, there are much overlaps with AI products, NLP, so augmented analytics, so quantum computing and data science. So there is most of this analytics says that this 10 trends will be the enhancements in conventional data analytics, and that will be ruling in the coming years. So augmented analytics, it automates the finding and surfacing of the insights. So here, if you see at the back end, it is like a simple role-based access control. What kind of what kind of data is to be shared, how it is shared to the users, and augmented data management. It shows how what is the impact of enterprise data management. So the enterprise data management, that is from both the software and underlying hardware perspective, plays a vital role here. So all this trends will be looking in the coming years. Sorry, coming slides. And natural language processing, already a set of NLP is available. How you are going to leverage that NLP environment into this analytics, graph analytics. You see, these days, graph analytics is gaining a considerable significance, because all this uh, crime deterrence and even these sports information display. So all this is based on this graph analytics. You have a data, you analyze, process the data, and your content is ready for communication. But how you present it to the public? These days, all medias, they use this graph analytics. Commercial AI and machine learning. So till date, there is a lot of, compared to the commercial platforms, free and open source platforms of machine learning and artificial intelligence is widely utilized. But in the coming days, there is a prediction that commercial AI and machine learning platforms will overtake the utilization of free and open source AI ML platforms. And data fabric, this is the underlying infrastructure where you put your data and how you access the data, how you provide access to your processing engine, to your uh, equipments like sensors or gateways. It should be both way, like taking the data, processing it, and communicating the data back to the, even sometimes to the same collector environment. Like you take a data from a IoT gateway, process it, and again send the information, processed information again back to the gateway. So there are cases like there will be two-way communication. This is highly applicable in case of smart city kind of projects. How you take it. And blockchain, again, this is the other upcoming area. So how blockchain is being integrated into the data analytics environment. So this integration of blockchain with data analytics brings in multiple use cases. So like one such use case is the registration of land records. So the digitization or e-land record registration brings in this blockchain and data analytics use cases. So instead of person moving on directly to the registration office with e-tokens to sit in your environment, you just register your land. The purchaser may be in some other location, registrar is in some other location. You all three coordinate and sign your documents so that all your transaction gets completed through online mode. Okay. Is a person as Dr. J. Wesley said that hearing some echo. Is all others hearing some echo? Okay. So the other thing is something called continuous intelligence. Continuous intelligence is there is nothing related to analytics at the back end. what does it mean is the upcoming technologies at each and every part, right from the data collection to the data communication, that is data transfer, and to the data processing engine, to the underlying infrastructure where data is processed. So all that at each and every stage, there is a improvement. There is a lot of enhancements going on. So this means continuous intelligence. So to make this data analytics ecosystem work, it is not only your Hadoop or your other tools and your programming that makes this complete data analytics ecosystem to work. There is a lot of other things that is involved. So it starts with, as I said, communication fabric, so underlying environment and such things, and persistent memory servers. From the hardware production, that is from the server computer architecture point of view, so these days most of the OEMs of hardware server manufacturing are focusing on this persistent memory servers, where the database, the entire database is being operated from an inbuilt memory of servers, from the persistent memory of servers. Thus, the entire database is being executed, so that it reduces the time from moving your from main memory to your cache memory to your secondary storage, so that even that data transfer time brings in uh, significant delay in case of perfect real-time processing systems. So in that way also it is getting, the work is going on to get reduced. And one thing that is being missed out in most of the standard definitions or standard descriptions of the data analytics is something called decision intelligence. You can see a lot of analytics is there, a lot of tools is there, a lot of techniques is there. But this decision intelligence suggests you how to use it, where to use it, and when to use it. So there are a lot of techniques and technologies available. So which technology should integrate, you should interoperate with your data analytics platform to bring out a best suitable business case. Before doing analytics, you need to prepare your data. So this is the first and foremost thing for a perfect data analytics environment. If your data is not perfectly prepared, you'll land up in a longer execution time or heavy workload for your data processing engine. The first and foremost thing is data preparation that you need to do. So to do this, there are plenty of data available, as you can see from the predictions and survey results. When a small IoT device generates bulk volume of data, but thing is, like, you need to be clear what kind of data you want, that you need to forward it to your analytics engine. So this can be obtained only from your business goals. For example, even it can be a research, but what is your research goal? If it is a business, if it is industry oriented, what is your industries? Yeah, web-based GIS is a valuable tool for decision intelligence. There is one comment by by a participant. Yeah, so I've not gone deep into what is decision intelligence and all the things. Just being an introduction class, I'm just giving a gist of what is what. Maybe in the coming sessions, the other speakers will give you a detailed picture of this. So what kind of data you want to take it from a from an ocean of data. So you have to take a relevant data, or else your data cleansing process will be a tragic thing. It takes a huge amount of time to get this. you need to get aligned with your research goals or with your business goals. Next is data centralization. All your data has to be centralized. Okay, although processing can be decentralized. Okay, these days decentralizing even at every stage, decentralized cloud environment, decentralized edge, fog, everything is moving towards decentralized way. But you need to ensure that the data is centralized. It means that there should be a single orchestration and control of your data, and a perfect, in simple terms, a perfect version control of your data should be there. Else, one phase one will be working with some version of data, and phase two you will go with some other version of data. The third point is like identification of data sources. So here comes in the most critical issue that to be addressed in a data analytics or in an IoT environment, that is security. So how far your data sources is secure? Are you taking the data from authentic data source? That is a specific point to mention here. Then identification of future data sources. Suppose that you are gathering data from 10 sources today, and tomorrow there is a, you need to be prepared to handle some another 5 additional data sources. So you need to, your environment has to get prepared for that. So that is identification of future data sources. Next is cleaning the data, and final thing, one thing that most people lack is the exit strategy. All your processing is done, your result is being picturized, communicated, and your work is done. The most important thing to be addressed is the exit strategy. What you are going to do with the data and how you move out of this data analytics system. You understand how your data moves out of this data analytics system. There are certain, although it is not standardized and established, there are certain operation procedures to work on this data science environment. So first thing is the data scientist mindset should be in line with the business. This is what we have seen in the earlier slide. The first point in the earlier slide, understanding this business strategy. So your research or business strategy should be in line with the data scientist mindset. Also, you need to take data accordingly. Okay, and you need to see that next point is data science isn't IT, which means that data science is not only information technology, because all this operational procedure that goes more deep into the business administration. So data science is combination of both information technology and business administration. Both will have equal weightage when it comes to data science. If both equal weightage is given for both, then your data science will give you a good outcome. Make a data centric approach to security. Again, this is one of the least focused area. Monitoring your data science environment. It is tracking the usage of data, log analysis of data access and data utilization. The other area which is not being touched at all is something called air gap. In simple terms, this is a simple backup and disaster recovery for your data environment. But at the back end, if you see, your data has to be safeguarded. In a normal disaster and recovery scenario, if your primary environment goes down, to get your services from your disaster recovery environment, from your DR environment or from an airline DR environment, based on your business goals, based on your recovery time and recovery process objective within certain specific amount of time, you will get back your services. But within this DR time, if your data is gone, you are in a task. So you need to ensure that your data is highly secured so that no access is given to your data. Even a raw data or a process data, it has to be highly safeguarded. This is called air gap. And the other important point is don't make data science an island. That means that data science should not operate as a individual entity, like how we operate other services, like any other application in a workflow environment. You can make certain workflows to operate as an individual or isolate in an isolated fashion. You can make it work, but data science should not work as an island. Means that it should get integrated with other business process. So it should go in line with all your business process. Then only in a business scenario, you'll get a good outcome. So use cases. Okay, one use case that I have missed here is like the last slide you have seen for, sorry, don't make a data centric approach to security, that is stopping real-time access. Some days back there was a news article stating that the one of the nuclear power plant in the country is compromised. Their network and their systems is compromised, and few data are taken up. Although the entire power plant is in a secured zone and insider attack is there, and the first target that comes into this kind of critical systems is the data. It's not the malfunctioning. It is not the attack is not for the malfunctioning of the systems, but their primary goal is that they need to tap the data. So there, this security and air gap mechanism comes in. So there are various use cases, like as you have seen in the previous slides, BFSI banking sector, they are the topmost with almost 33% utilization of this data analytics environment in production in our country. Supply chain logistics. So if you see DHL with Cisco, they have made a partnership in focusing on research and development of this supply chain logistics with data analytics. You see, their main research goal is on IoT inventory and warehouse management. All their inventories and warehouse management are being administered with this IoT tools. So where they use the technologies like RFID and NFC tags, near field communication tags, low power LAN networks, 5G networks. So each and every shipment is being tagged with this RFID and NFC tags with capable of 5G communication. So their entire end-to-end logistics is being tracked centrally. Voice-based communication systems. This is being used in these days the customer support centers. There you can see like whenever you get a call from any of the customer care centers or you call to them, your voice will be recorded for quality and training purpose. You will get this message. At the back end, each and every voice call is being analyzed with the data analytics platform. And there, so based on the their business goals and the customer mindset, they arrive at a decision, and next time they do a planning, the analytics of how to approach the customers, the way in which customers has to be approached. And one use case is another use case direct is that IBM, how they use blockchain with data analytics environment to connect coffee drinkers and coffee plantation farmers. So all that the coffee drinkers, they want to know us from where the coffee is coming from, whether is it of first good quality who shipped it, because there may be some adulterations during shipment, and who is the farmer, what are all his certifications, what is his level of practice, and all this has to be in a transparent way. So IBM is working on this kind of use case where connecting farmers, the data from their farmland is being fed into the system with their handheld or IoT devices, and even the shipment with logistics, how the coffee seeds is being shipped uh, to the coffee making shops and how it is being delivered. Next is SugarTech is a food manufacturing industry where they want to maintain the quality of food, for which they use video analytics with edge and cloud computing. So food in their food manufacturing process, the entire process is being captured by high definition cameras, and immediate video analytics works on. Even they cannot compromise certain the delay in terms of seconds. So they have placed an edge computing system at each and every food processing environment, whereby they work to enhance the food quality with this video footages. The other use case is Indian Railways. They are working with uh, Department of Science and Technology in IIT to bring in uh, to move towards Industry 4.0. So Indian Railways manufacturing operations will soon be on Industry 4.0, which is a combination of artificial intelligence, IoT, big data, machine learning, and cloud computing. And press release says that about 4,000 crore is being expected to be invested in this ICPS, interdisciplinary cyber physical systems, which is nothing but Industry 4.0 working principle is based on this ICPS framework. So Indian Railways, starting from design of a product and to the production to the rollout, so everything will be on this Industry 4.0. Another interesting use case is something called predictive policing. So this is gaining more popularity. So already countries like US, UK, China has already implemented this predictive policing based on the records of any crime incidents past 15-20 years data. Certain analytics is done, and based on that they come out with a predictive result that this may happen in the future. So with this kind of approach, they have saved 9 different lives. Another interesting use case of this data analytics, not predictive policing, but data analytics use case is like the police department is able to track one of a robbery case that happened with Indian Railways. While transporting the torn rupee notes from one city to other city, while the train is in moving state, a bulk amount of money has been taken by the in a group of people. So within certain period of time, the police department would easily track the group of people involved in this kind of robbery. It's all because of data analytics. So what happened at the back end is like it starts with mobile signals. That acts as a gateway point. So along the stretch of this train motion, all this mobile towers are being tracked. So data is obtained from all these mobile towers, cell phone towers, and that is being sent for analytics. So at the point when the train is moving, they analyze like how many mobile calls communication is active and how long it is active, and it is like from which tower it is switching over to which tower, and what is the location of train during this call switchover. So all this kind of data is taken and all this is being analyzed, and finally they could be able to track this group. You see how this data analytics helps in predictive policing, and this specifically in this Delhi case. So there are 6 incidents where almost like 9 lives have been saved. So first case is a man comes out of a prison, and based on his past histories and how he came in with all this kind of data, so his action is being predicted and the industrialist is saved. So same way, like there are other scenarios based on the past records, the future is being predicted and police moves on to this part. Next use case is autonomous vehicles. Although this has not gained much popularity here, but in other countries, autonomous vehicle is gaining more popularity. The reason is that it gives you tension-free ride with safe roads and reduction in greenhouse gases. So getting into autonomous vehicles, data is the major backbone of this vehicle movement. So it will be a both-way communication where sensors in your vehicle gathers the data and send it to the processing environment, and already pre-built data is available, like from certain GIS environments like maps and other stuff. You have pre-built data, so where your vehicle should move and how your vehicle should move. So gathering the data from your vehicle, those are intermediate data processing, and gathering a data from a pre-built server environment will do a log and data processing, like end-to-end distance, end-to-end travel, the distance calculation, the speed calculation, time, traffic free routes, all that is calculated in a remote environment, maybe on a cloud environment, and intermediate or immediate real-time data processing, like any obstacles on the way while the vehicle is in motion. All that is done in a proximity close to the source of data. So there are 2 processing environments required here. At both the ends, there should be an analytics engine that is running. So this running at the source of data is edge, and running at a longer end, not near the source of data, that brings in the cloud. Okay, so next the use cases COVID-19, and you can see like the usage of cloud market has drastically has gone up with this COVID-19 this thing. So here what happens is it is not only a simple direct infrastructure as a service cloud. It involves platform as a service. You see, more than infrastructure as a service, platform as a service is mainly used in cloud specifically for this COVID-19 outbreak. So as I said in the starting sessions, almost all the apps, there are a lot of apps for this COVID-19 tracking, like contact tracing and a lot of other stuff. So everything at the backend uses certain maps or GIS systems. So their processing is almost done in a cloud environment. Lot of data sets is being available even with our government. So that is being taken by multiple apps. So Government of India has come out with certain policies like open data, and there are a lot of other data policies. You just go to data.gov.in, you'll get enormous data sets ranging from all departments like education, healthcare, to transport, to agriculture. Almost all departments use real-time data sets which can be used for developing certain apps or apps that will be helpful to the community. So now coming into the other dark sides of this data analytics environment. So first thing is like how we are going, as I said, it's about the exit strategy. How you are going to come out with this data. Like you have taken the data, you have processed it, all your work is done. We are going to ensure that the data is perfectly vanished. So you can see like a prediction states that 6.4 million tons of CO2 will pollute the atmosphere because of this data, something called dark data. So what is dark data is? It's a data that is stored in your environment, but that is no longer useful to you. You're not going to use your data, use the data, but still you keep your data, store your data in your environment. So that is dark data. This happens even in our laptops and desktops where we store bulk volume of data, but still we never even open those files. So the other dark side, as given out by the World Economic Forum, is that cyber attacks and data fraud or theft. The top 10 risks, technological risk is only two things: one is data fraud or theft, and the other is cyber attack. Both this directly impact the data, impact or directly relates to data analytics. So data fraud or data theft is like altering the data or completely taking a copy of data. Cyber attacks to your environment.
எனக்கு
So
ஸ்க்ரீன்
first
ஷேர்
and
ஆக
foremost
மாட்டேங்குது.
aim for this kind of cyber attacks is they want to take your data, and next is they want to crash your environment. So security plays a major role in the data analytics environment. To overcome this data risks, new framework that is coming in, something called DevSecOps. DevOps is a framework for integrating the operation, development, and operation of any services. So it goes in hand in hand. Like in a traditional scenario, you develop your services and you move your services into operation. But this is development and operation goes hand in hand with continuous integration and continuous development. The next advanced stage to that is or bringing in security. So security is brought in at every stage in a IT processing, in a cyber system process, starting from an entry point to the exit point, your security is completely brought in. It starts with your creating phase, planning, production, configuration, so at prediction stage, response, and even verification. Even at the testing phase, everywhere you need to bring in security. If not, the entire system will be a failure system because every process is being automated with various technologies like artificial intelligence. At every stage, artificial intelligence is brought in. Even for taking a backup of your data, these days artificial intelligence is being brought in. So at each and every stage, security is highly important. So business continuity. So for a business, next thing that we need to focus, higher focus is required as in a business continuity scenario. Data analytics is brought in because business continuity these days is not a simple task because of multiple technologies getting involved. Business continuity is how you are going to sustain your business process, how you are how you are planning to make your business a stable and sustainable environment. So to do this, sure, data analytics forms the backbone because of it requires all the predictive analytics and diagnostic analytics. So data analytics forms a major role here. So for doing this analytics, data analytics, how you are going to do it, that will be dealt in the sessions, but where you are going to do it, that will be dealt in the Wednesday session by me. Again, I will give you there, I'll not focus much on the theory part, so I'll just give you an overview of this, and there I'll give you a hands-on, I will demonstrate you the installation and configuration of the working environment for a data analytics platform. So data analytics generally is deployed on top of cloud environment. So either it can be taking an infrastructure service, or it can be direct deploying your platform, business analytics platform, or directly accessing the business analytics or data analytics platform as a service. So hope most of you are aware of OpenStack, which is a best known tool for implementing your private cloud, free and open source tool for implementing private cloud environment. So OpenStack has got a big data processing framework. Just a second. Yeah, hello. Can you please repeat your query? Hello. Hello. So, what is the advantage of going to this Sahara framework is that it gives you the benefit of cloud, that is elasticity, scaling up and scaling down of your infrastructure, along with orchestration is being provided by this Sahara component. And the other services that is being available to a conventional cloud is being provided or is being directly applicable to this data processing framework, like starting with your security, storage, access, and integrating plugins with graphical interface. All that is directly available with a simple deployment of with a few minutes of manual effort. You can deploy this component in your systems, and you can have your base framework ready for doing your data analytics. So the few of these components are the OpenStack components, and how that get OpenStack in the sense like the cloud components, and how your data analytics framework sits on top of a cloud environment as pictured here. Here you can see this is the dashboard. The horizon is the dashboard component, and this is the keystone is the security component. So existing existing web-based dashboards, security, your underlying computation and orchestration, management with networking, underlying networking. So all that gets integrated with this data analytics framework. So on deploying this component, Sahara means I know OpenStack. Yeah, Sahara is one of the project or one of the services on top of OpenStack. So OpenStack has got multiple services where each and every service is responsible for individual specific tasks like managing the computation part, storage, networking, orchestration, elasticity, automated scaling up, scaling down, backup, recovery, and all that. So this Sahara is specifically for data analytics framework. Instead of deploying your Hadoop node in a separate environment and then securing it and then providing some monitoring tools, providing some orchestration, instead of doing all this individual tasks, you deploy it on OpenStack environment. So that is, it gets on a basic OpenStack environment that gets integrated with the other services like compute, storage, network, your security. So all this, with all the services, this gets integrated and gives you a perfect working ecosystem from the infrastructure point of view. And this open group architecture framework. So this is the framework being given out by a working group. One thing that is lacking in case of data analytics, the complete ecosystem, is something called standards. Standards are still evolving, and there are various groups working on this standard, standardizing this data analytics environment. So for service access and delivery, so these are the basic area of focus. It starts with interconnection, user interfaces, and delivery channels, that is the underlying networks, and access channels. For service integration, there are certain integrations required. Starts with your first is external integration, as in physical interconnections, data integration, application and service integration, and internally in process to process integration. And service component framework, here comes the security part, where it starts with the entire securing the entire ecosystem, starting with infrastructure to data applications, BI and reporting tools, so the data management strategy, and business service components. So, although all the other components seems to be common for certain use cases, this business service component changes from use case to use case. So this is the first point that I stressed, like your data scientist should be aware of your business goals or research goals. Service platform, where databases and storage, platform and delivery servers, hardware and infrastructure. So the last column is these days being outsourced as a service. So here if you see, everything is being outsourced as a service. Like database as a service from a cloud environment, like database as a service, storage as a service, platform as a service, hardware and infrastructure as a services. Now, a direct application of big data analytics as Industry 4.0. In Industry 1.0, it is mechanizing the industry process with certain machineries. Industry process is being processed. In 2.0, with the help of machineries, production is done in a mass quantity. In 3.0, it is complete automation of the entire industry process. But in Industry 4.0, it is enhancements with smart technologies like cyber physical systems, data analytics, artificial intelligence, Internet of Things, machine learning. So in simple terms, Industry 4.0 works on ICPS, Integrated Cyber Physical Systems Framework, where it mainly the main objective is machine to machine, automated machine to machine communication and coordination. In a large scale factories, like multiple machines might be there, but all that gets integrated and automated communication, coordination, and control is brought in by this ICPS framework. So the design principles is that needs to ensure interoperability among the machines, among the data, among the applications, and information transparency, technical assistance, and decentralized decisions. So big data, how big data is brought in Industry 4.0, starts with data being captured from connected sensors and networks, cloud, where the processing framework is running, cyber security and cyber systems, cyber physical systems, model like multiple models with multiple memory requirements, content and context. So community, their sharing and collaboration of data, community building, and customization. Each and every process requires a customized data. So, like for example, this all this all this six big data strategies requires a complete customization. In an industry, there will be multiple machines. For example, there will be multiple machines. The raw data or directly processed data cannot be directly fed into each and every machine. So a high level of customization is also required before that is being fed into each and every machines. But in a real time with very minimal processing time. So this industry 4.0 is now moving at a peak with with data analytics and AI at the backend. So with this, just concluding this session. Hope the session was like a bit informative. But although I have not covered deep technical things, I've just covered because this being an introduction session and most of the detailed technical sessions is being covered in the schedule in the coming days. I've just given you a brief of the technical impact of data analytics with respect to other domains. So any doubts or anything to discuss?
Can you give us more insight into Sahara architecture?
Only share
Yeah, I have
PPT.
not even basics of what is data analytics, what is data science, now that. Yeah, is there any hands-on? Okay, I'll demonstrate you a simple deployment of a container in a normal computation environment like laptops or desktop machines. So you have, I think that session will be video recorded, so you can practice it and you can deploy your own containers on which you can deploy your data analytics tools, and that can be integrated with any other applications. More on dark data. Okay. Dark data is to gather a lot of data from multiple sources, but after only few of the data will be used by your processing environment, or even after using this data, still data remains in your environment. So what will be the impact to keep on storing your data in your environment? Impact is that hardware, your storage keeps on increasing. Also, that maybe at certain point of time be a burden for your computation engine. So to avoid that, periodic cleansing or periodic processing of unused data has to be done. But the challenge is you will not know when again you will need the data. For example, in this case of predictive policing, they say that past 20 years, I want only past 20 years records, and records prior to that can be disposed. You don't know, maybe after some period of time you may need that record also. So that is predicting which data will be useful and which data will not be useful is again a challenge here. Yeah. Business continuity with big data analytics. Business continuity is in case of any IT environment, in a case of IT environment, Like you have primary data center, nearline data center, and disaster recovery center. You have, or simple case, you have a primary data center where your applications are running, and in case of any disaster, if the data center is down, you run your applications from a disaster recovery center. There may be a time delay, there may be a data loss, there may not be a time delay, may not be a data loss. But all that is, if this primary site is down, if this primary application is down, you should get application from some other environment. That is your primary requirement. So how to do this? There are multiple scenarios, like your primary application, that is your first level application may be running in a normal server within your organization or within your company environment. And for the disaster recovery process, if your office is down, you can get it from a cloud. So this is from physical to virtual, physical to cloud. This may be one scenario. The other scenario is between cloud to cloud and physical to physical. So this has to be at certain places automated, and certain places this has to be a manual process. So how do you automate this? How do you take a periodic backup of data? And if your data is like service is not available, how you will ensure that still your business continues? So that this uh, this level of business continuity has to be automated. If it is a small or a application with a less workload, maybe with some manual process, we can make it up and running. But consider certain applications like ICPS applications. If you are going for Industry 4.0, all industries are automated and interconnected over this computer framework. So if this is down, you should get your things up and running from certain uh, disaster recovery environment. So here, how how do you bring in automation? First point is predicting a failure. How do you predict that your system is okay? Here we need to first see that how in a management of risk. So how do you assess the risk? How do you manage the risk? Here data analytics comes in. Testing process, for that data analytics comes in. Conducting business impact analysis. If my system is not available for another 10 minutes or 15 minutes or 1 day or 24 hours, what will be the impact? Who will be the person getting impacted? How do I overcome that? So all that is being done through data analytics. Okay, any software to be installed for the hands-on, that will be intimated later. Can we consider the data present in trash as dark data? Dark data not only comprises of data in trash, even in your live storage environment, you'll have certain data, but that is not being touched at all for certain period of time. Like Android mobiles, when your storage is being filled up, you'll say that this much, your names is taking this much storage space, these many files are getting repeated, which occupies this much amount of space. So all that comes as a pop-up in mobiles. The same way, if you take a higher system, larger systems like uh, larger systems like a big data center environment, there you will have enormous volume of data that is not being used at all. So that is actually a dark data. Okay, in what way DevOps is related to data analytics? Okay, DevOps is like end-to-end the process integration. Here, if you see, starting from the authenticity of the devices, like in IoT environment, you are collecting data from sensors and through a gateway that gets communicated. You need to ensure that your gateway and sensors is being secure, highly secure. The communication channel is secure. The communication channel is highly secure. Data processing platform software is secure. Your IT infrastructure is being secure. So this way, the entire end-to-end, even in the case of testing your framework, testing your data has to be a secure environment. So at the back end, as you see now, DevOps is since it is integrated directly to it has got bulk volume of data being analyzed at the backend. If you see any use cases of big data analytics, there DevOps comes in. So securing the end-to-end security is highly important here. Okay, business continuity under Industry 4.0. What if there are multiple failures? What are the mitigation measures? But this actually depends on your business goals. Like usually, a single point of failure is a scenario being avoided with a redundant system. But in case of Industry 4.0, like you have got a high-end processing mechanical machines, like CNC machines, you cannot have a standby machine for that. So it is not. It will have a huge impact on your budget if you are having a redundant system for each and every component. But in case of Industry 4.0, business continuity is not that addressed because here there are a lot of scenarios for that has to be improved. Like starting from the security, communication security to device, equipment security, and the manpower handling has to be highly in a controlled way. So this business continuity in Industry 4.0 is yet to be addressed in a larger scale. So any other points to discuss? Yeah, Sahara is comparable with Apache Spark. Like both have got the backend data analytics framework, but this Sahara is directly it can be integrated with a cloud orchestration component, that is OpenStack. The Spark acts as a standalone processing element, but that Spark as a standalone component that can be deployed on a cloud. But this Sahara, when you deploy it, it directly gets integrated with the default cloud components like security management components. Okay.
I think Kailash sir, we can end the session now. Kailash, can you hear me? Hello? Hello, Kailash?
For the graph analytics, yeah, I'll share more resources. Got certain lot of use cases, specifically in case of crime deterrence and things. Maybe I'll share it on Wednesday's session. Yeah, okay. So thanks for patient listening and interaction. Hope gain at least some few information about this. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Kailash. So this session will get discontinued now. The session 2 will start at 1:45 to 1:50 for the connection, and the session will exactly start at 2 p.m. Thank you. And the session, this particular session will be disconnected now. And attendance, regarding the attendance and then the duration of attendee is already recorded. So the attendance is automatic, no need to worry.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.